Hello, everybody. This is Brother Chooch thinking out loud about the times. I'm actually 5 minutes early. Now, I have a new contraption here. I'm not sure if you could tell there's a microphone. Um, I'm not sure if it works or not. I'm not sure if you're hearing me. I hope you are. I wouldn't mind a thumbs up if you can hear me. And if not, I'm going to have to go to other old-fashioned means. But this microphone actually is not something I purchased. Let me see if I could show you. I feel like a radio personality now or something. But this was actually given to me by Spinebreaker. I'm not sure if he's on tonight, but thank you for the very generous gift. There were some complaints about people not being able to hear me, so we got this. And I have a guest. This is actually the first guest I ever have on TOL Late Night. And here's my little buddy. Now, if you could see, he's actually attached to the thing that's supposed to be for to block your spittle if you're singing in the microphone or not. And he's just going to hang out with us for a little bit, okay? Because he wants to find out what this is all about. And forbid I get sick or something happens and he has to fill in for me. He wants to be able to kind of get his feet wet and know how this all works. So anyways, thank you for tuning in. This is quite a late one. Talking 10:30 standard time. I haven't done a live chat in a while because we're working on the Rapture convergence theory. We got another Rapture convergence theory video coming out either Friday or Saturday or Sunday at the latest. And we also have been doing some quick hitters and a lot of fun on the community section. So I hope that you've been TOLing with us, because TOL is actually the official home of the Rapture heads. And so if you're a Rapture head like me, then this is your home headquarters. So let me just do a little quick roll call. And I know there's not everyone who's crazy about that. So if you're watching this recorded, just skip ahead a minute or so if this irritates you. But we do like to honor those who have sacrificed and came on late. Mr. Mac, we're not going to say everybody's name, but we'll run down a bunch of you guys. Mr. Mac, Alta, Anna, 100, Await H, Betts, Brett Horton, Christy Ackerman, Danny Hall, 1912, Diane McAndrews, Drivers 26 SWX, Frank Rustico, Glenn Stevens, Harpazzo Palazzo, I Love Cockatiels, Anna Rapto, second, Jason Graves, Jen B, Jim Collins, the one and only Jim Jackson, Joshua David E79, Kevin Hilton, Kevin Kerr, Larry McDonnell, Lori Irons, Mary Cabral, Megan Alcorn, Michelle Poe, Moto X Addict, Nina Jones, Oceania, Paulette Rose, R. Johns, Rambling Rose, Eric from Rapture Saint, Rhonda Eaton, Rima Hardy, Sarah Jane, Shannon Gilbert, Shelley Lonnie, Sandra N., Susie Pentland, Tammy Buchanan, Tiger Monkey Joey, the Blue Velvet River, the one and only Wackadoodle Samoan. And I mentioned on my video earlier today how Wax video really inspired me. You know, Wax on top of things. I really appreciate his insight. And he gets me excited to do more videos. And Watchmen on the Wall, Quebec, William Gardner, and William Peterson. Welcome to you all, and God bless each and every one of you. Thank you so much. So, what do you think? You think he should stick around a little bit longer, or should I put him to sleep? We'll have him stick around just a little bit longer. So this evening's discussion, I believe, has to do with just sort of processing where we're at right now with the rapture and with end times. Now, if you haven't noticed, if you've been living under a rock, what's been going on in the world is there seems to be a little bit of, I guess, hope and optimism that we're getting back to normal. We're heading towards normal. The vipers have been going out. Numbers supposedly have been coming down. And there's hope in the air that life will return pre-pestilence. And I don't know what the future holds. That could be the case. And I don't mean to sound pessimistic or like, a doomsayer, but I am highly skeptical that that is the case. And I'm going to explain why. And I would love to hear what you guys think about that and what your thoughts are. Now, everything that's been going on in the past couple years, I think are indicative of there is an agenda, and it starts with Satan and it trickles down to the elites of the world. And we are seeing Bible prophecy unfold right before our eyes, and we are at the cusp of the translation of the church and the commencement of the tribulation period. Now, if you want me to put paranoid, delusional, conspiracy theorist on my hat for saying that, you so well can. But I truly believe that is the case that we are in. This is our reality. And I have made, along with many other watchmen and watchwomen, have made videos detailing point by point why we believe we are where we're at. Now, having said that, there's probably 98% of the world, maybe even 99% of the world, who believe that this is just something that happened. Maybe the pestilence was developed in a lab in China and got out by accident or even purposely, but it kind of stops there. And mankind and pharmaceuticals have been hard at work to come up with a viper that's going to end this thing, reverse this thing. And the governments of this world are working shoulder by shoulder and arm by arm, even though masks are on, to try to help society be protected from this pestilence and to receive this viper and to go back to normal, to go back to life. Yes, there's going to be a few things that are going to be implemented for our safety, such as, green passports, and, you'll be able to be welcomed into certain venues if you've proven that you've taken the viper. And those who are opposing, hey, Keeks, how are you doing, bro? Welcome aboard. Always good to see you. Those who oppose such a thing will probably be labeled as defiant outcasts, or just simply those who are just selfishly putting at risk others who are complying with the protocols. So here's the thing. Okay. The thing is that if you're watching and you know your scripture, and you see what's been happening the last few years, I just want to present some of this, and most of you are well familiar with all of this. One of the biggest indicators that we're at the end, besides the fig tree generation, the parable of the fig tree, which I think is really a gift that Christ gave to us to get a general idea of the time frame of the end, right? And our next video, in Rapture Convergence, there will be going into detail on that. Besides that parable, we cannot minimize the great importance of seeing the moral decay of the world in general, people's morality, according to what Scripture says is what is right and what is good in God's eyes. There is a right and there's a wrong. There's an absolute in this world, and God has established that. And it's something that He has not changed. Murder is wrong, and um, you know, sex prior to marriage is a sin, and lying is a sin. There's, folks, what God says is sin, and what God says is righteousness is righteousness. The moral decay of this world is clearly seen, clearly observed. Matter of fact, all you have to do is look at what has been done to the sacred union and established um, marriage that God had created in Genesis. That has been redefined, flipped on its head, and basically changed. What God has established as gender roles um, and gender, sexes, that's been dealt with and challenged and changed. And also what we see going on morally with babies being murdered, sadly, by the millions, year in and year out. We are seeing more and more immorality, rebellion, and sin. Matter of fact, sin now is pretty much celebrated. And don't take lightly when the world as a whole, just like in the days of Noah, pretty much doing evil so much in their thoughts and in their actions that God can only take so much of that before He's going to intervene. So you got that. And also, we need to take a look at what's been going on, I think, politically. There's never been such a divide in the United States between the left and the right. And also, what happened in this last election is absolutely atrocious. Uh, I don't know about you, but do you think that Biden, of any presidential candidate who has ever ran for that particular office, would get the most votes ever by a candidate? I mean, it just doesn't make sense. I mean, Biden, his cognitive abilities, I mean, how come he's not doing addressing the press? How come he's not doing more public speaking? And I mean, Trump was talking to the media or in the news every day, every other day. Where's Biden? The reason why I think you don't see Biden is because he doesn't know where he's at for the most part. I think he's not fit. He's not fit to be the president. And so ultimately, you got somebody's right near hiding Biden Um, I think that he's just right now sitting in a chair, comfortable chair, and every so often asked to sign some papers, right? I think there's other people pulling the strings. So you got that. You saw what happened in Washington, which is something I've never seen before. And of course, I think that there was tampering there with the Capitol and all that. And you look at what's going on in Israel, and I think that's a big indicator that we're very much at the end. Is Israel hasn't had, a government in place. Now they're going on their third or fourth. Is it the third election or the fourth election coming up on the 23rd of March? Um, that's bizarre. That's a crazy situation over there. And Israel and Iran, something's going to give over there. Something's got to give. Israel's, okay, this is their fourth time around with the election. That's incredible. So you got the fourth election coming up. You have Iran and Israel. It's a very volatile situation. Ezekiel 38 and 39 could be fulfilled even this year. Isaiah 17, Damascus is potentially going to be destroyed in the very near future. There's a lot of third temple building talk. You got the Abrahamic Accords, peace and safety. You have 2021 is on pace to be a record year for earthquakes and volcanoes, right? And you still have a world that is heading headlong into a globalistic system like never before. That new world order that President Bush Sr. spoke of when he was in office is happening. It's happening. So I'm going to put this little guy to bed because he's getting tired, as you could see. So let me just put him here. Okay. Have a good night. Sleep tight. Don't let the bed bugs bite. So at the end of the day, you have to say to yourself, is all this coincidental? Are we making it up? Are we dreaming of things? Or is this the end? Now, having shown you just a handful of examples, I didn't even get into the alien stuff. That in itself is um, an issue because I think that might be setting up for the lie. So I don't know about you, but don't you think it's relatively peculiar, in the very least, that the Pentagon, the government, is disclosing documentation that there have been UFO sightings, and this is, I believe, setting up because Satan knows that the Harpazo is coming soon, and he wants to be ready for his man of the hour to explain it away with this foolishness. All right. I mean, so you got all that, and then you say to yourself, okay, with all the vipers going around, we're going to go back to normal. We're going to go back into the baseball stadiums. We're going to have our concerts. We're going to have our parties and festivals, and everything's going to be okay. We're at the end. Now, I put out a video earlier today that pretty much said, that we at TOL, we are expecting, and I believe that Wackadoodle is on board, and if he's not, he could tell me right here in the live chat, that we believe that these variants are going to be highly, highly significant. Because if all this was planned with a lot of powerful people with a ton of money, a ton of political clout, we're going to need to continue this way, right? I'm not saying we like I'm a part of this. I'm talking as if I'm part of that. They are going to need to continue their agenda because they did not complete what they're trying to accomplish here. And what are they trying to accomplish? Complete control. They want to know where you are, what you're spending your money on, what you can and can't do. And like the World Economic Forum says, you will owe nothing and you will be happy. All right? They ultimately want everybody to be chipped. And they're going to put the mark either on your forehead or on your hand. And you and I have already been conditioned for this. They got people with those little guns checking your forehead to see if you have a FEV. And if you do, you can't go into their place of establishment. And if you don't, and you have your mask on, you're fine to come in. So that will simply be replaced with a scanning device that will read the chip that is in your forehead or in your hand or quantum tattoo or whatever you want to call it that has the technology to contain the information that it will contain. And again, like I said before in the earlier video, the Antichrist could make a great case why it would be in your best interest to take the mark for several reasons. Everything from your health records, your financial account security there, protect you from, allow you to travel safely, be identified without having to worry about, a license or some sort of an ID, be able to control immigration, be able to control terrorism, be able to control identity theft. There's so many benefits that he's going to solve for this. But at the end of the day, it's about him being worshipped. The Antichrist wants to be worshipped and he wants complete control. All right? So, if everything I'm saying is somewhat accurate or I'm going down the right path, then things cannot go back to normal. And if they do go back to normal, then we're off. We're going to be off with our timing of when the end is. Because all these things are going to be delayed. We're not going to get to the climax, which would be the 7-year tribulation period. And I don't believe that's going to happen because the fig tree says it's time. The fig tree says it's time. Not only does the fig tree says it's time, there's other things that are converging, that's screaming, it's time, it's time, it's not, it's time. So here's the thing, and I agree, there was somebody who wrote something very interesting. It doesn't necessarily have to be the variance, but it has to be I'll call it a triggering event that needs to occur. And I'll throw out a few triggering events or a combination of triggering events that can usher in the globalist plan and the New World Order. One is, I believe, a strong likelihood is the variants take off and they're more lethal, they're more contagious, and it's going to require lockdowns again, and more stringent actions put into place to control people, to get more vipers out, and eventually lead to the mark. That's one hypothesis. The other hypothesis is there's a war breaks out in the Middle East, i.e., Ezekiel 38:39. Some still believe that Psalms 83 still needs to be completed. There needs to be a war and a crisis in the Middle East that possibly can usher in um, the need for the Antichrist to come on the scene. Because keep in mind that the Antichrist will be coming on the scene probably to quell the masses, to give them hope, offer peace, offer safety, and deal with the problems at hand on planet Earth. The other possibility is this alien, I don't know, ruse, this whole alien thing that has been starting to pick up. We get in contact with them, they appear. The Pope has a photo op with two aliens on his lap, and he's, planning something of some sort of intervention. As crazy as that sounds, that very well can be at play uh, at the end. And these little gray creatures, whatever they are not aliens, they're demons or some sort of manifestation of demons. As we know, Pope Francis has been busy at work in his blasphemous plans, and has, like no other pope, done such craziness. I mean, this is like, I'm surprised not more Catholics are up in arms with what this Pope is saying and doing. But, I really believe that the triggering events, there needs to be a triggering event or events to get us to the next level in their plans. Now, I just believe that the NWO has been putting their stock mostly on the pestilence, the man-made pestilence, and the viper. But guess what? If we get harpazo, that's going to flip the world, I think, upside down. And that will create chaos and a need for some answers and intervention. If there's a world war, that perhaps could do it as well. I'm not sure. But what I'm trying to say in general is that I do not think that we're going back to normal, or even a semblance of normal, because then I will have to start thinking like, when is this all going to come to a head? When is all this going to come to a head? Because it has to. God's prophetic timeline has to play out. It just has to. So as your friends and family and coworkers and neighbors wait in line to get vipered, and they feel like they're out of the woods and they're breathing a sigh of relief and everything, excited about the weather warming up and all the plans for the summer, please temper your excitement. I'm not saying to go at your town green and declare a warning for your town to, go back into their homes and huddle in the corner with their masks. That's not the point here, guys. The point is that don't get caught up in the narrative that you're hearing, because you will be shocked and shaken when this thing goes south. And this thing will go south. and I believe it's going to go south this spring. And the only reason why I'm saying this spring is because, as we're showing in the Rapture convergence theory, is that everything's lining up and coming to a head. And I can't see this going on all that much longer. Spring, early summer. If we're kind of in the same place, spring or early summer, then I'll probably look to the fall. But this high watch window of currently the day we're in now till I would say mid-August is as high a watch time as I've ever seen. I think even surpasses when the Revelation 12 sign happened in 2017. Because as great a sign as that was, you did not have what you have today. You just don't have what you have today. You had a wonderful sign in the stars, in the heavenly bodies, but you did not have what you have today. You just don't have that. And so most people are so conditioned about things that are going on in the world that if an alien rang their doorbell and asked if they could borrow a wrench or something, they probably would do it and say, nothing surprises me anymore. See, we have been so desensitized to what's going on in the world that we're just handing over our rights, our freedoms, left and right, willy-nilly. And the truth of the matter is that, and J.D. Frog brought up a good point, a little analogy, illustration. If you took a watchman from the 1980s, 1990s, and they went into a coma, and then they revived, woke up in 2020 or 2021, they would be freaking out right now. They'd be like, we're here. We're getting raptured. But and the reason why J.D. Frog used that illustration is because, and he said it, we've been basically desensitized, even as watchmen. Now, if you're looking in the 80s and 90s, which I was, and then you got, you were unconscious for a couple decades and then woke up now, you would see the contrast. It's almost like if you have a, let's say your cousin has a child, a baby, and then you bump into your cousin, let's say 6 months later in the grocery store, and you get freaked out by how big that baby is now, because the last time you saw him was 6 months ago. The mother's like, I didn't think my baby's was growing all that much, because you're with the baby all the time. You don't see it. But when you're removed from something and then you get brought back into it, you notice the difference. Okay. So what Satan wants the church to do is go to sleep. Right? He wants it to be lulled to sleep. Don't have any urgency. Don't listen to that rapture stuff. Things are going to be okay. All right? Tune into some feel-good messages about how you could be blessed with your money and your investments, and how you could get a better control over your anger. I'm not saying there isn't merit in trying to, work on growing in the process of your sanctification, because there is, but if you're a born again believer and you don't see what's going on in the world right now, then you might be, in a way, a little bit too sleepy. Okay? A little bit too sleepy. And it's time for the church and even to wake up and smell the coffee and get ready to be with our Lord and Savior soon. The days are precious, the weeks are precious, and if there are months, those are precious. But we have no excuse about being sleepy and stopping and no longer watching, getting discouraged, and going back to our old ways. I think that would be a foolish thing to do, in my humble opinion. My humble opinion is treat each day, right now, each day should be treated with urgency and expectation, and watch. Okay? You need to watch. And there's plenty of every day in the news, there's something watch-worthy. There's something that relates to the end. It could be a temple thing. It could be a Middle Eastern thing. It could be a New World Order thing. It could be a natural disaster. There's something always going on to just say, wow, that's interesting. And when you put all the puzzle pieces together, because Bro Keek sends me articles every morning. I have a stream of material. And I wish I could quit my job. Perhaps if I had enough faith, just quit my job and do this all day long. If it was up to me, I would do it. Eat ramen noodles, cut my budget, and just do this. But I can't do that right now. But Bro Keek sends me all this stuff, and he sends other Watchmen stuff. It's not like I'm special. Sends me all this stuff, and it's just prophetic news of what's going on in the world. And so I'll read the headlines, and if I see something interesting, I'll click the link and read more. But there's not a day that goes by that he has nothing to send me. There's always something going on. And there's several things that are going on. And then I'll say, wow, that might be worthy of a quick hitter, that might be worthy of a discussion, or even put something in the community section. But the bottom line is that there's, as we consider birth pangs, because kind of what's going on is there's a birth about to take place. And what we need to do is keep watching. Do I get discouraged sometimes? Of course I do. That's why I have you to encourage me. I get wonderful emails, and I read the comments, and you guys are an encouragement to me. And so when I get encouraged, I give it right back at you. So we keep each other encouraged. I'm not super Watchman. I'm not super Christian. And I'm not, I'm not a cheerleader. I tend to be a little bit more on the pessimistic side. Okay. So it's not like I wake up every morning with bells on and I'm thinking the harpazo is going to happen that day. There are some days I wake up and I say, I can't believe we're still here. I can't believe it's 2021. How come we didn't get harpazoed yet? What if I'm wrong? I'm fallible. I have my ups and my downs. You think watching's easy? It isn't. Watching's not easy. I know that I guarantee you there's brothers and sisters that have subbed here that are much more, they're excited, they're optimistic, and it's, you know what? I love them, but I also love the pessimistic watchmen too, who are just tired, skeptical, grumpy. I know that they need encouragement too. All right. So you have all different kinds of watchmen. You have watchmen who are like literally got thinking, it's this week and they're excited and they're like pumped up. They got Rapture notes all over the place and they got, They're ready to go. And then there's other watchmen, or and I'm not saying, when I say watchmen, I mean anyone who is a believer who's just watching for the Lord's return. You got other watchmen and watchwomen who have been waiting and watching so long that they wrestle of like, is it worth it? Should I keep looking? I don't know. I thought it was going to be last week. I can't take another high watch day, and it comes and goes. Um, and you got brothers and sisters who are there. We at this channel, TOL End Times, we want to be an encouragement to everybody because we understand it's not always easy to watch and wait and to be patient and wait on the Lord. The Lord has been long suffering to give people a last chance to turn to Him before it's too late. Right? So if you're watching this channel, even watching this program, do you understand what the gospel is? Do you understand what the good news is? Isn't it wonderful that this is not a works-based? It's not a work-based plan of salvation. It's completely done. The work has been done and finished by Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ was completely man and completely God, came down to earth, born of a virgin, took on flesh, lived a pleasing, dependent life on his Father. He lived a sinless life, and then he voluntarily went to the cross and sacrificed himself for us, shedding his blood, redeeming us, and he died and was buried and he rose again. There's the gospel. And all he asks us to do is to believe in him. And that's it. And it's not about, okay, you do 99%, you believe 99%, and then 1% you is on you. Well, no. Let me tell you something, okay? If 0.000001% involved my efforts to be saved, then I'd screw it up. I would mess it up. I would lose my salvation if it was up to me. Okay? So if it's possible to lose your salvation, which I believe it is not, there is no question in my mind I've lost it. Because it's if it's up to me in any way to either gain it or maintain it, I'll lose it. I will lose it. Okay, so I'm talking about a free, everlasting gift, and Jesus did it all, and he's got you clutched in his hand, and he's not letting go. No one's snatching you away. Nothing can separate you from the love of Christ. So, guys, your ticket has been punched for heaven. You're going to be raptured. We're up here late at night discussing when he might come back. There's billions of people on earth who are sleeping right now soundly, who, if they were to pass tonight, will face judgment from God. And could you imagine trying to explain to God why you should be let into heaven? The only answer is, I trusted your Son. I believed in your Son and trusted in him alone. Doesn't matter what church you go. I mean, you should go to a Bible-believing church, but going to church doesn't save you. Being a good Cub Scout doesn't save you. Selling the most Girl Scout cookies doesn't save you. It doesn't save you to be a good moral person. It doesn't. You're not saved by walking up a flight of stairs and stepping in and doing a novena on each step as you go up to the cross. None of that stuff saves you. Jesus did the saving. The Son of Man has come to seek and to save that which was lost. He did it, right? So anyways, that's my take. I hope you guys enjoyed the fellowship. I know I didn't involve you too much, and I apologize for that. But I will say this, is that I hope that you tune into the Rapture Convergence Theory that's coming out very soon. And thank you for joining us tonight. And I hope to see you here, there, but especially in the air. God bless.